Well, it's been 13 years since she left the Church of Scientology. Now, one of the organisation's former elite members is lifting the lid on the church's darkest secrets. Nora Crest claims that she was forced to spend 3 years in a reconditioning camp as punishment for kissing a girl.
An active member from an early age, the 39-year-old was life coach to Scientology's biggest celebrity members and their children.
Well, Nora Crest joins us live from Santa Barbara. Good morning to you. What was your position in the church before you were sent away? We said you were a member of the elite.
Yes, I worked in the C organization for Celebrity Center International, which is in Hollywood.
All right, now
and my official position there was, my official position there was working in the course rooms to assist people to learn the materials that they were studying.
Okay, now you refer to the reconditioning camp as sort of a Scientology prison. So can you take us there? Can you let us know what was life actually like when you were there?
Well, I'll give you a description of my first day there. We were waiting in line for food, and there was about 250 people at the time on the program, and we all had to queue up in a single file line to go into this tiny room where they had like one portion of a salad bar situation where they were putting trays of food in. And when I finally got my turn up to the front, as the cook was bringing in a gigantic tray of hamburgers that were cooked, as he was setting it down, people were elbowing each other, they were punching each other, they were grabbing fistfuls of hamburgers and running back to their table to furiously eat, because you only have 20 minutes to eat at each meal break. Right. So that's sort of like, in a nutshell, what life was like.
And what sort of work would you do?
Mostly construction work, anywhere from demolition to doing sheetrock, HVAC, electrical, anything that involved like heavy manual labor. Or mill work. That's, yeah.
At this point, when your life is like that, are you thinking about getting out, or are you happy to be there and serving this?
Yeah, happiness was really not an option there. It wasn't actually a goal for you to become happy. The goal was for you to be a good soldier, in the sense that you only did exactly what you were told and you were no longer going to break any rules. So they were really trying to reshape you into a mindless robot.
Okay, you say you worked with John Travolta as a trained word clearer. So what did that involve?
Correct.
So much mystique around Scientology that it's actually quite nice to get some insight into what these actual procedures are. So a word clearer?
Yeah, it's a fancy Scientology term for someone who is proficient in using a dictionary and helps the students in the classroom to understand the gigantic, old-fashioned words that L. Ron Hubbard uses all over the place to make himself sound smarter. So you have to dive into various dictionaries to even find a definition of these words. So that was my job, to help the students to understand these words that they were reading. And sometimes I used the Scientology e-meter to help search out the words that they were having trouble with, and more times than not I didn't use the e-meter. But on the occasion that I worked with John Travolta, I did.
Okay. Now, you say you were a life counsellor to the children of stars like Tom Cruise and even Lisa Marie Presley. So
Yes.
what did you help them with?
Correct.
Exactly?
Basically the same thing. I mean, they were children and they were being what I would call indoctrinated at that time to various, there's a lot of like many levels of different courses that you do in Scientology, and they were doing what's called beginner courses, how to get along and these sorts of things, relationship type courses that are geared specifically towards children. And so when I would work with them, I would help them to understand the words also by me using the dictionary and then explaining the definition of the words to them in a simpler way. Okay. So that they could understand it. Because all of those kids, they were around like 9, 10 years old when I was working with them.
You said you weren't allowed to mention Nicole Kidman's name after she left the Church of Scientology.
Yeah.
Can you take us back to that time and what was going on and what you were being told and how hard it must have been for Nicole?
Well, we were told basically in a briefing that we were never to mention Nicole's name, that she was not a Scientologist, and as far as we were concerned, she had never been a Scientologist, and that the reason why she was being sort of shoved aside and excommunicated was because her father, as we were told, was the #1 psych in all of Australia and had turned Nicole against Tom and Scientology. So therefore she was evil, and we just needed to forget about her. I mean, we were barred from seeing any movie she was in. We were not allowed to, like, in any way talk about her. And when I was working with Tom and Nicole's kids, that was actually kind of part of my mission when I was working with them, was to see if they were mentioning their mother, if they were missing her, and to report back to the senior executives anything that they had said about Nicole, and to dig into that with them, like why were they missing her? Was someone telling them they should miss her? That sort of thing.
So you would think, obviously, that the church played a major role in that marriage breakdown.
Oh, 100%, absolutely. It was completely crafted by the Church of Scientology to rip Tom and Nicole apart, because per all accounts they were very much in love with each other. They had 2 beautiful children that they loved very much. And when Tom started pulling back from Scientology, I'm assuming at Nicole's request, they were losing their #1 star on the planet, and that was unacceptable. So they went at it no holds barred to get him back.
How did you finally get out?
Unfortunately for me, I ended up on the RPF, which is the Rehabilitation Project Force, which I like to call the Scientology concentration camp. And after spending 3 years on doing that and trying to leave, I ran away twice. That didn't work. I tried to leave legally by going through their security checking process and begging a group of peers to let me go. After being accused wrongly of, trying to seduce a woman, which I wasn't, I was berated for about 50 minutes, and things were said to me that I cannot repeat on live television. And after that, I just, basically after the 3 years, and I had broken ribs, herniated discs, I'd been electrocuted. I mean, a lot of things had happened to me. I almost bled to death at one point. I decided that they were correct, that I was a useless human being and that my life had no value, and I attempted suicide by drinking bleach. So they finally had to get rid of me, because that's unacceptable, trying to kill yourself. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But that's really the only way to leave sometimes.
Okay. Nora, thank you very much for your time this morning out of Santa Barbara. It's incredible for us every now and again to get a glimpse of, what people like you are telling us what goes on behind those walls. We thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Nora.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you. The Church of Scientology has sent us a statement regarding Nora's claims. It says, in part, the Church of Scientology opposes discrimination of any sort, and we practice a policy of inclusion among our parishioners. As a minority group, we understand what it is like to be discriminated against and persecuted. You can read the Church's full statement on our website.
And we thank Nora very much for her time this morning.
Thank you, Nora.